Chancellor of the Exchequer Rachel Reeves has been able to expand her fiscal buffer to £22 billion. This is according to an early release of the Office for Budget Responsibility's forecast. That compares to expectations of £15 billion. So this number was much better than anticipated. It sent yields down when it initially hit the Bloomberg terminal just some minutes ago. The document appears to be, well, it is genuine. It was published in error, though, by the OBR ahead of the expected release, which is usually given to the markets after the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, finishes delivering her budget speech. So instead of the OBR's headlines dropping after Rachel Reeves had already spoken, we ended up with getting the OBR's reaction to it before we've heard the speech itself. So the OBR has already apologised for that. It said that it's apologised for the technical error and it's launched an investigation. So that means that markets have had to catch up pretty quickly in a sort of back to front fashion, taking the OBR's word for it first before we've got the obvious budget delivered. But that does mean that we can tell you a few things about what are a few things that are in the budget. So we started out with that headroom news, and that was the thing that when it dropped around 15 minutes ago, we saw yields drop here in the UK. And in just a moment, we'll put up a session chart that shows you the session chart for the 10-year yield. And we saw a drop in the yield because this was confirmation that we got more headroom. That was what the Chancellor had told us she wanted, but that didn't last, as you can see. So we saw that drop in yields, and then there were a series of other headlines that then sent yields higher. So we got confirmation of some more negative news around growth. So the UK official growth forecast has been cut to 1.4% from 1.9%. Now, this is for the year 2026. Of course, there'll be other estimates, other data to get on other years. We usually get a full suite of renewed data from the OBR, but that's the one that seems to have moved markets. And also keeping in mind what we saw there on that V shape in government debt yields, there are a host of other headlines that crossed as well, highlighting really where some of the money is going to come from to create this headroom. So we're seeing a very long period of hold on tax thresholds. So we've had confirmation on income tax thresholds, and certain of those are going to be maintained throughout the Parliament. So perhaps that is one way that she is managing to get in some of this money for creating the headroom. Gambling duties, they're going to be reformed. Taxes on property, so this is properties above £2 million, often dubbed in the media a wealth tax. That seems to be what we are talking about there, but we'll wait to hear Rachel Reeves with the details about how exactly that's going to be applied, because there were various versions of that kind of policy doing the rounds beforehand. An increased tax on dividends by 2 percentage points. So that's something to watch when it comes to stock trading. And there was news on pension contributions above £20,000, NIC's national insurance contributions being applied to those. So we've seen plenty of headlines dropping on the Bloomberg terminal in a real flurry. There's been an apology from the OBR about this technical error. In other news, slightly away from the financial markets, but certainly of relevance because it has to do with welfare spending, the UK is to remove the two-child limit within universal credit, this according to the OBR. And, of course, this has been something that had been very contentious within the Labour Party, and perhaps this is the type of policy that is designed to go down well with backbenchers. So that's some of the headlines that we have right now. They'll continue to drop as everybody works their way through this OBR statement. So the UK budget watchdog apologising, as I mentioned earlier on, for the fiscal reports arriving earlier.